Hello and welcome to Artist Talks episode number 10. My name is Anton Valdbauer. I'm a founder and artistic leader of Deep Dive Dance, which is hosting this interview. Today, our guest is the young talented dancer, uprising choreographer, Sofia Nappi. Sofia is director and co-founder of her project KOMOCO. In her short artistic career, she became sought-out young choreographer, and as she continued her journey to discover her authentic voice, we invited her to sit down with us for an interview. Please support us by subscribing to this channel so you don't miss more interviews like this. Enjoy and let's go! Thank you for doing this with us. It's really nice to have you. And
thank you for having me. It's really good.
What is your earliest memory that you can think of related to dance?
My earliest memory, really honestly, probably I was like 4. I wasn't typical ballerina that started at 3. Nobody introduced me except for myself. But at 4, I remember just attaching clothespin to my long shirt and just dancing and just playing with the rhythm of like a maracas sound, like rhythm of this clothespin attached to this imaginary shirt.
Yes.
And so that's my earliest, I have to say.
When was the decision kind of became clear for you that this is something that you can seriously dedicate your life to?
It was actually when I was 18 already, because that's when I actually started my professional training in dance. I was actually into academics and I was playing the piano almost at the conservatory. So I was a swimmer, like a competition swimmer. Mm-hmm. I left my Italian high school to do an international student year, but not related to dance. And I was just at the time I started when I was 14 to do dance as a hobby, and it was really freeing for me. But only when I went there, I discovered, it's a long story, but I got part of the small dance company of this high school in Canada, in Vancouver, when I went there for 1 year. And coincidence, we traveled to New York for 5 days. Uh-huh. And that was, for me, was really an epiphany. I got to know the reality of Alvin Ailey, my future school, where I really got in touch with my passion to move. My inner drive was mostly related to the fact that since I wasn't trained dancer, I was moving because I had the music inside me, the music playing, years of classic and piano playing, and it was related just to move and create by myself. So that's applied to a more professional and seeing the possibility that you could have through dance to make a career. I had to work hard, but I wanted to try it out.
You mentioned Alvin Ailey already, which became your kind of formation place. What attracted you to study there?
Well, I actually, since I started in a very small, like as a hobby, I told you, it's a very small reality, Alvin Ailey was my really first touch of like a professional institution, but also what really attracted me was I could really feel connected to the groove, to the soul of the dance there. Also, I was attracted also to the message, to the environment there, because it was such a multicultural by choice, but also to live in a very diverse environment such as New York City that has other interests, other informations to soak in, and such a good established institution. I wanted to trust it.
So everything kind of came together. And now you're in the process of completing your study with Than Naharin to become like ambassador of Gaga technique. What drove you to that?
It started actually in my second year of school when I got really injured. Mm-hmm. And I decided to, I heard about this therapeutical technique, and I didn't know what that was. I just went and trusted with a very, very bad injury, and I felt complete devotion to it afterwards, because it wasn't about learning, it was about re-getting what we forgot in a way, lots of undoing, a lots of discovery, my habits, a lots of going beyond boundaries that I didn't even know about. So for me, I was really devoted to the work. I kept going back also because I felt it was giving me such a toolbox to create from there. It's not something aesthetically codified, so it gives you very specific tools to then explore pure movement from the source, from right engines. So I really felt that I was given this opportunity, and it was the best gift as a young creator, and as I'm really craving for exploring possibility, exploring movement, and for me it was just it's the best way to keep my research going, also to have that kind of sense of community within the research.
And maybe a follow-up question, choreographers that inspires you and why?
OHAD for sure. Since we are on the note, I feel that the physical research, the composition research, but mostly I think the delicacy that you can feel in within also explosive movement and strong form, the delicacy and the lightness within the research. There is always that sharp, ingenious sense of silliness in within the research that keep the work light and enjoyable. So I think that's really sharp and genius, choreographic wise. Office sector for sure. I took a good amount of workshop, and that discovery that I had from him, physically wise, to find my weight, to find my hands, to find the sensitivity of my extremities, it was huge. But also for his, I think he has a great, amazing genius to kind of organize chaos in a way. You have all these chaotic silhouettes, and then he kind of organized this beautiful chaos. Then I would say Pina Bausch and Pipin Tom for the theatrical aspect of it, related to the human sphere, and I found it very relatable to me. They really portrays the human fear, bad habits, or just something that we mirror so much ourselves with. We recognize it, and we find some healing from it. We put into perspective, so they're really genius with that. Yeah. And to end, KOMOCO Dance Company, I feel, in the UK, which kind of summarize everything that I just said of all of them.
So how does your personal creative process usually looks like?
I would say that there is a subconscious but very aware blueprint, both with company I had the pleasure to work with, and both with my project. So I usually start with a zooming in. There is no 5, 6, 7, 8. I usually start with zooming in, which I really want to feel the people. I put myself in what. And it's like awareness of the body. It's mostly trying to really recognize these places of atrophies and kind of use what we have really fully, like trying to kind of forget that we are made in pieces that we call, for example, wrist, hands, but just to really feel the totality of our body, of our senses, and feel the information in within ourselves, but also in the outside. So once we reach that state, we can play with all the information that I built up, and then related to the research with those information, I start creating. And for now, it's been mostly my whole material, but still, the people around me, they're so meaningful for what is happening in the space.
So when I saw some of your little trailers of your work, 2 words came to mind: tribal and urban. Agree? Like
yes. No, I absolutely agree. If we talk like tribal and urban, I feel I completely agree, because they are related to us, the human that we are. And I'm in this period of my research, I feel like I'm interested a lot. I'm drawn by the undoing, the kind of connecting to our, in a way, not falling ambition, but kind of, undoing, connecting to the roots, and to then evolve from there. So undoing to then evolve into something else, something higher. And within the research, I found it very informing, because it really a research that connects me to groove, to the passion, to the why we do it, to the moment, the silliness of research, to pleasure in a way. So I'm finding lots of learning. So I would say yes, urban, because I'm using what we have now, what exists. Yeah. So I feel it's very contemporary and human. So urban, yeah.
So what about loose shirts and pants? Comes out a lot in your work. Is there something behind that, or is it just coincidental?
You do right about asking. I love honest questions. Like, I love it because I have nothing really to hide. No, it's not because it's cool. No, it's because I use it. I use it as like almost a body part, an extension of my body. For example, to me, having clothes on my skin, if I do a movement, if I have clothes on my forearm, help me to ignite to acknowledge the flesh of my forearm, and by the sense of touch that I feel on my skin. So that movement, it colors automatically. If I say to the dancer, feel that or feel that, and if you then have clothes, maybe the temperature on the skin, or maybe the air, I don't know, use what you have. So I love, then it comes out also with the lights, and of course with the movement, fluidity to this, maybe strong movement. So that contrast, I really enjoy it. Also, many times warm color, because the research, it's, as I told you, tribal and urban for now. So it gives me more rawness of content. But mostly to add quality and colors to the experience of the performer. Yeah. So I can feel it as well. I can see it. It's tangible.
Okay, and I would also like to ask you, of course, about your project that you started with your sister. What is it exactly, and why it exists?
KOMOCO, it started just with us, me and my sister. I just felt that I needed this creative side. I needed to let it out. I'm not only a performer. Like, I love contributing to someone else's vision and have the generosity, but something was missing. Something was really missing, and I need to be truthful to the reason why I started dance. And I was like, there is no actual path, like right path. Like, if people already appreciate what I've done in school, like, and I want also some opportunity in Alvin Ailey through school, like, I need to channel the reason why I do it. Like, I felt it very strongly, and it doesn't, I'm not the confident person. I'm not really, it came really from need of whether I do this or whether I might choose to do something else, because I have so many interests that I gave up for this. I started so late. So I asked my sister, she's a violinist and composer, and she has an amazing voice, but very different character. And I was like, why don't we do it? And we bring a duet to the Netherlands choreography competition. So I have something to work on very strongly. And from there, maybe, who knows, a group. And that actually led to work with a group, with a trio, with the residents in New York, that then led this year to a commission to the company, but then led to more independent young choreographer. It's easier, and I love it. So KOMOCO, it's, I would say, my group of artists that I would love to enlarge, to keep my own artistic research, not worry about the product, I would say. Not to fall too much into habits, even though there are also good habits, I believe. As a group, something that I, especially now, I believe that I would want to put a lot of effort in. You know, it's very hard. KOMOCO, I would say, it's with the support now that I got from Sesta Palmizzi company in Italy, it's actually becoming a group.
What would be a dream project or collaboration, either for you independently or for your KOMOCO group?
For sure, my dream would be to have a creative nest that is beautiful. I have already done it, residency around the world, but also to have a point of reference, like a creative nest would be incredible. And I'm working towards it. But also to keep the traveling as independent choreographer sometime, and have the pleasure to do that and the honor to do that, to keep myself as much open and challenged as possible. And one of the goals within this whole project is also to offer moving classes, dance classes for non-movers. I really get inspired. That's only why the reason also I love to be a Gaga ambassador, because I get to do Gaga people classes, and that's people discovering, like non-movers, I would say. I don't even know what it means, but
yeah.
Let's say people who don't practice dance every day are my biggest source of inspiration. And I feel like I can really see it in my work.
And in your opinion, what it takes to be successful in this field?
Like, I'm gonna be as honest as possible. As a young choreographer, it takes a lot of resilience, because at the beginning, when the work is not there yet, then I trust the work. But before, when it's about meeting people, which I'm not the greatest at, I'm like very socially weird, I would say. Resilience, like really believing and being honest about why you do it. I would say if you do it for success as a young choreographer, it's not worth it. If you do it for money, not even. For fulfillment, yes. So resilience, that it's gonna happen, no worries, it's gonna happen, that you will be so privileged to live of this one day. Just keep on believing it. Then I would say vulnerability, but vulnerability in the sense of getting exposed, like get out there without knowing the outcome. Just try to do it. It's scary, and allow yourself to dream, to set yourself a goal. Then the path can be very elastic and plastic. But then the goal should be there. If not, it's easy to get lost.
Have you ever felt that things are a little bit more complicated or difficult or harder professionally, simply because you are a female creator?
So obviously, as everybody can see, there are much for social reason, I would say, social standards, and unfortunately there are more females in dance than men, and why there are more men choreographers than female. So it came to my mind. I don't want to pinpoint finger at anybody, because I don't think there is something we can pinpoint to, but I would say what I noticed, it's been hard in a way, because I noticed that even a little bit, the fact that you are a female in a dance field is given more for granted. Like, it's like you add value to the men in the dance right away. So that happens also in choreography. As a male choreographer, you already, as a male choreographer, you already add more value automatically. That's something small, but something that I notice.
And what do you think we can do better to change this situation?
Well, I don't want to be too extremist in offering more opportunities for just female choreographers, which would be a very direct result, but is also extremist. But maybe instead of maybe deciding to do, for example, a commission just for female, maybe like to create an opportunity to commission to a like an application called just for female, that's maybe cutting out a particular category of the dance field, but bring awareness to it. To bring awareness to it through interviews, through something that more people can get very aware of.
We put a little grain to that here today, right now.
And I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Biggest fears?
Biggest fears? I would say not to be able to fully live in the present. That's my really biggest fear, because I recognize I'm very caught up by many things. I think that my biggest fear is to stop kind of dancing live, because for me dance movement makes me feel more aware, more connected to myself and to the whole, and be sensitive to the outside. The same way, I can recognize days in which I don't feel kind of the wow, I don't feel the complete awareness to this, but I'm too much projected, whether in the future, whether in the past, or caught in the past. So yeah, and that's a very heavy feeling, especially now that we cannot plan too much, at least. So it served me a lot to deal with it, to deal with the fact I couldn't plan, I couldn't live in the past, but I had to be now here. It really made me committed to make this something that I can apply every day like a default.
Yeah.
So yeah, not to be curious, not to be feeling like I wanna keep researching, which I feel it's easy to fall into, like a lot as humans. That's my biggest fear. Yeah.
The last question would be, why dance is important?
Is the reason why. I mean, yeah, dance, I feel it's completely needed to. We are beings of connection. I think we need connection in order to survive. That's how we experience also through COVID. I feel like the need of really interconnection, the feeling of being isolated. Let's think about culture, for example, the reason why it exists, in order to feel some kind of connection, some kind of mirroring, some kind of belonging. And other than give ourselves meaning to this life, we need this sense of belonging, we need this sense of connection. So I think that dance for me is important, because it not only brings awareness of what is given to you, which is our material self, the body, which is capable of incredible things, and we give it for granted. We are not, we actually kind of really overuse it. We are really not taking care of their possibility. But also it brings sensitivity to the outside. So for me, dance is not necessarily that aesthetic form that we are recognizing with a performance in front of us, but it's really what keeps us connected. Yeah. So to connect together through dance to that movement brings connection, brings interconnectivities, which is life, the meaning of life. So I'm interested in that, and that's why I feel that everybody should be considered a mover.
Okay, so I think this is it.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to get to know you virtually.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope you found this interview interesting and inspiring. And if so, please share it with your friends and colleagues. We thank you. Until next time.